Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 8 of Life After 3D. This one probably going to be fairly short. It's more of a concept for you to bear in mind moving forward. I've got little stories and illustration about all this, but the whole idea is when you're trying to pick ways of having additional income, try to use skills that you may already have. So in the case of an artist, you might want to pick things that you might be capable of doing outside of the 3D world. You know, maybe you started out, I don't know, as a carpenter or whatever, or doing something, and maybe that has some skills that are applicable in a way to make money. Let me illustrate a story of a friend of mine who's, in the early 60s, but has worked their entire life as a mechanic. Now, what they used to do to make money on the side, outside of all that, was very simple. They would go to the refuse tip during the summer, and round this area there was always things for sale that people had got rid of that they were trying to get, sell. And there would be loads of either washing machines or dryers. He would buy dryers and he'd pay about £5 each. Now, most of these, all they needed was a replacement belt and maybe a couple of tweaks. Being a mechanic, he knew what he was doing. So he had a room in the house, he would load these up, buy loads of them during the summer, fix them all up, and then by the time it got to autumn and winter, everybody was wanting to buy a second-hand dryer. And he'd then offload them for X amount of money, I won't tell you how much, and made a nice little profit. Now, the point I'm trying to illustrate here is that was using an existing skill set where he knew how to do that. The same as some people, relatives of mine, have been buying and selling cars and doing them up for years until fairly recently. Find something that you are good at, something that you can do fairly easily. It's the reason why I've been looking more deeply into the whole idea of flipping guitars. The only thing that puts me off this is people who've been doing this for many years. You've got two options, right? You either start with a big pile of money and you immediately go for the vintage instruments. That makes you more profit because you want to be aiming at a minimum of 20% profit on each sale, regardless. Ideally, you want a lot more than that. Now, if you don't, you're starting at the bottom end, it'll take about 5 to 7 years to make enough profit to buy and sell the good stuff. But this is where, if you're not very careful, you can get burned. There's one guy on YouTube, I won't mention his name. When he first started, he's now very well known for buying and selling guitars. Now he does them 6, 7 at a time, vintage instruments, stuff like that. The first sale he did, he bought a vintage Les Paul. It turned out to be a fake, and he lost about £15,000 on it, or $15,000, because he paid overpriced for something that was basically a fake. Now, obviously, fakes are getting better and better now, and you've got to be damn sure you know what you're looking at, especially when you're dealing with vintage instruments. That sort of puts me off, because if I suddenly end up in the hole to the tune of, say, £3,000, that makes a bad situation a lot worse. So for the moment, I'm putting that to one side, unless I see something that's a golden opportunity. If I see something for sale that I know I can sell at a profit, then yeah, I'd go for it. But it's not something that at the current time I feel is a reliable way forward until I've got a bit enough of a financial cushion behind me. So that's the sort of thing. Well, I'm busy at the moment trying to think, well, actually, what can I do? What skills do I have? Outside of 3D, yeah, I'm a musician. I know a lot about music and music production and, composition theory and, stuff like that. Could I teach musical instruments? I've done it before. Used to teach guitar for years. Didn't make a lot of money out of it. Besides, the market's pretty much sewn up around here, with people doing it, so I wouldn't make much money. Plus, you really need to be doing it in a location that's not your own house, Before that, there was I was an escape artist for many years. I still have those skills. I'm good at lock picking. Does that mean you can be a locksmith? No, it doesn't, because that's a different skill set. Locksmiths very rarely pick locks, right? No matter what you might see from people like the lock picking lawyer on YouTube, majority of the time they will drill a lock open and replace it. So those sort of skills, they're completely different. There's a bit of overlap, but not a lot. Yes, I can talk for England. If there was an Olympic medal in talking bullshit for hours on end, I would probably win it. I remember a number of years ago, I had 3 days of lecturing to do and enough content for an hour and a half. I managed to fill it full of interesting anecdotes and other little bits of knowledge, and everybody was happy. So yes, I'm good at talking. The one thing that gets in my way is my accent, which, although I can lessen if I'm lecturing, I'm never going to completely get rid of it. So that's a bit of a problem. So there's, I'm fairly limited at the moment. I need to sit down and have a really good think. I'm about to do 2 of these videos back to back because the next one's going to be a more personal one. I've got a lot of stuff going on this week and potentially next week. So I've got to try and get at least one in the bag. Right, so if I'm wearing exactly the same stuff in the next video, that's why it's done directly after this one. So yeah, what I would say is try to think about stuff like that. Now maybe, and I've just realised this camera is wonky because that's not horizontal in the background. That's going to drive me crazy now. Well, shit. I'll have to put it right for the next video. I've got to try and work out if there's anything else I can really do. I've got lots of knowledge in my head on various subjects, but what can I actually apply? I'm not particularly brilliant at DIY. Yes, I made a fantastic cigar box guitar about 4 years ago, which I think surprised everybody that when I put my mind to it with a decent set of tools, I can actually make things nice. Unfortunately, the money you make from stuff like that, there's not a lot of profit in it. There's a race to the bottom, and there has been for a number of years. So I don't know. We're still up in the air. I have a few other ideas for passive incomes. A lot of them are going to require quite considerable setup time. Once that's set up, it should basically run itself. Zero interaction from me once stock and things are in place. But we'll see. The money is going to start running out once we start getting towards my birthday. This week alone, it seems like bills have been raining out of the sky. And hundreds of pounds has been taken out of my account to pay bills. And it's not done yet. There's going to be about £100 in the next 24 hours that's got to go missing because reasons. And that doesn't help, right? So I'm trying to make things last as long as I can, but I'm only human, right? So anyway, I'm going to call it a day on this one. It's nearly 8 minutes. So my name's Wayne Robson. This has been Life After 3D, episode 8. I'm fairly sure it's episode 8. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.